And we start with breaking news, reports of gunshots at a Walmart in Salem.
They say there's an active incident in the vicinity of Turner Road. That's where Walmart is, and they're asking people to avoid that area. The Statesman Journal soon after started reporting shots fired, and a police dog from the K-9 unit, they say, is down. There's descriptions of activity in the Walmart parking lot of a vehicle, a large vehicle, maybe a bus or an RV being surrounded, and all its curtains are drawn. That is the focus right now for Salem police.
Police describe the suspect as a white male who is bald and has a beard and bright blue eyes, barricaded himself inside a motorhome, and this says that shots have been fired from that motorhome.
There you see Sky 8 making its way there to Turner Road in Salem, and we'll bring you images from Sky 8 as soon as we arrive on scene there.
Breaking news, a shootout and standoff in a Salem Walmart parking lot, now in its 6th hour. Police lobbed tear gas in the bullet-riddled bus, but the guy inside is still shooting.
And Joe, a late update: within the past 10 to 15 minutes, we've seen additional police officers arrive here at the scene. They've gone through this barricade and then onto the crime scene. Obviously, still a very active situation. From Sky 8, a closer look. Keep in mind, we'll keep our shot wide. We're not going to zoom in so we don't put any officers in danger. But I can tell you that suspect that's barricaded inside the converted bus.
Police scrambled to the scene, the parking lot of a Walmart on Turner Road.
It was kind of scary. I was afraid that the guy was like on the loose, but I heard that they had him surrounded, so we were safe.
Around 11 this morning, Salem police found a suspect they'd been looking for. Officers say there was an exchange of gunfire. A police K-9 named Baco was injured. The other officers were not hurt. Investigators say the suspect barricaded himself inside a converted bus. He repeatedly fired at police. Look closely, you can actually see the shattered glass. Workers in nearby businesses were told to stay put.
Emotionally, it was kind of scary. My fiance works there, but at night, so I was kind of relieved that he had the night shift, but still it was really nerve-wracking and scary and emotional.
After hours of negotiation, 2 rounds of gas from police. Quickly, the suspect returned with 5 shots, shooting out windows in the bus to allow that gas to disperse. And just as things were escalating, the suspect started talking to police again. So the standoff is happening right behind me. This has been going on for quite some time, and it's not just the people in the stores like Walmart who are locked down. This is a park right across the street, and all of these people have been trapped since this thing started.
He's threatened to blow up all of his propane.
They're all locked down, including the people here. I mean, nobody can get in or out.
Watching all this drama play out has been an emotional experience for many of those watching from the park.
The police cars can't get by. 1 dog has been shot. What do you want?
It appears police are getting ready to take some more action. As we've seen throughout the afternoon, they have fired a number of tear gas canisters into this bus with no success to get this man to surrender. But you can see the police vehicle on the right now moving in and starting to approach the bus. There's another police vehicle in the foreground. You can see there, the last count, there were 3 or 4 in that area that are armored, and there are police officers inside the turret, if you will, of these vehicles, trying to move into position and make sure that they obviously protect the officers who are involved in this operation as well. So the surrounding area is certainly feeling the impact of what's happening here. As you can see, that police vehicle ram into the bus once again. It's probably a good bet that whoever is in there probably has a gas mask because of the amount of tear gas they have poured into that bus. And again, apparently to no avail. Now they're starting to ram the bus, and maybe they're trying to move it to a different location as well.
Yeah, perhaps. You know, they doing everything they can to bring this to a peaceful end. Obviously, negotiations underway. They've tried the tear gas, any kind of, you know, non-lethal option to try to get whoever is in that bus to give up and come out. We've heard throughout the day a lot of shots being fired or ammunition blowing up. You know, it's a little bit difficult to tell, but you could hear a pop, 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 pop several times coming from inside of the bus. At this point, though, the only thing that has been injured is the police dog, and the police dog is going to be okay.
Breaking news, just as we were airing that piece, we heard a flurry of gunfire, many shots fired, and on the scanner we heard that the suspect is down. It appears that there was a hole in that bus from the ripper that went in there and smashed into the bus, and they had a view and they started taking the shots. We're going to hear a lot more about this. All of this just happening in the last few seconds. Back to you. Maybe you had a better vantage point there from Sky 8. It'd be interesting to see.
We do, Wayne, as a matter of fact, and we're going to show you this brand new video just in now from Sky 8. And I want to make it clear, this is not live. This happened just a short time ago. But the Ripper that we mentioned earlier in the afternoon had torn off the front door, but now they've gone in with what appears to be a type of battering ram, and they have just, from one end to the other now, peeled off the entire side of that bus. I don't know anything more about those shots being fired, but if Wayne is hearing that, clearly there's been some activity after the video you're watching right now. But this Ripper truck has torn the bus to shreds on the side. There are items from inside the bus strewn all across the parking lot right now, and you're looking at how that happened, with the Ripper digging in there with that battering ram and pulling the entire side of that bus off. But again, to just make clear, this is not live. We're not giving away any police locations at this point. This happened just a few minutes ago, but you can see the Ripper truck doing its job in peeling back the side of that bus. A lot of people wonder about police activity, and when we get a scene like this, we learn a lot more about how police operate in a scene like this. Some of it may not make sense at the point. Why would they rip the side of the bus off? They have poured a lot of tear gas into this bus to no avail. The person inside has not surrendered. So police have moved on to another tactic, this one peeling back the side of that bus, which will allow them, of course, a clear view inside to see what's happening. And at that point, perhaps the person inside is out of options, and that might have led to the gunshots that we heard Wayne reference just a minute ago. Okay, we're going to break away from this for just a minute, but as soon as this situation has either come to an end or we do have some new developments that we can pass along with some video that we are able to show you that isn't live, we will certainly do this. And we want to point out, too, that this all started with the shooting of a canine police officer. His name is Baco, a German Shepherd, and although we don't know where he was shot, we do know he's been treated and released from an animal clinic, so that is good news. Baco appears to be okay. He is one of 7 canines partnered with officers on the Salem police force.
We want to bring you up to date now on our breaking news at that Walmart parking lot in Salem. We understand that it has been resolved that the gunman has come out of the bus, is apparently still alive and in the back of that SWAT vehicle being transported to a medic.
Yes, just a few minutes ago, one of the police vehicles ripped open the side of the bus that this man has been holed up in all afternoon. And from, see that right here, but the man then made his way to a part of this opening in the bus and then tumbled out. So it does appear that through all of the police tactics this afternoon, all the gunshots that were exchanged, and all the tear gas that was poured in there, the man has survived all of it. And as I said, tumbled out of the bus after police ripped the side of it off. He was loaded onto the back of that SWAT vehicle and is being taken now for medical care. He's on the back of that vehicle right there. You can see his head between that officer's legs right there. He was loaded onto the back of the truck, and then they made their way out of the parking lot at the Walmart there. And as we said, I'm guessing they're taking him now to an ambulance.
There's the stretcher right there,
sure.
right? They needed to get him out of the area that had been closed off. Not even the ambulance was allowed into that area while this was going on.
We can hear sirens in the distance. In all likelihood, that ambulance that you've been watching from Sky 8 will take that suspect now onto a local hospital for medical treatment. Again, we can hear the sirens and we can see them coming our way as they're going to stop traffic and allow this ambulance to move through here. Carrying, obviously, the one individual who had been barricaded inside that vehicle all day long and was the center of an intense police standoff. There you can see the ambulance and police officers following that ambulance to a nearby hospital. Again, we watch live on Channel 8 as this suspect finally surrendered, coming out of that converted bus on his own free will, but he was not in good shape. We could actually see that he appeared to be wounded, bleeding from his arms and legs. He literally tumbled out over all the debris that filled that converted bus. Again, getting him out of there was not easy. This all started about 11 o'clock this morning when Salem police found a suspect they had been looking for. They exchanged gunfire with him. A police canine was injured in that shootout, The canine appears to be okay and no other officers were hurt. But the suspect then barricaded himself inside that converted bus. He wouldn't come out. He fired at police repeatedly throughout the afternoon. Officers tried to use tear gas. They also used tank-like armored vehicle called the Ripper to try and tear apart that converted bus and get this individual to surrender. And repeatedly throughout the afternoon, they used tear gas, filling that bus with tear gas, but he still did not give up until just about a half an hour ago when we watched on Channel 8 Live as they carried him off. SWAT team members from as far away as Portland were on scene, obviously concerned about their own well-being, but obviously concerned about him as well, and also didn't want to make sure that he was armed. Once they secured him, they put him in an ambulance and took him away again to a nearby hospital. We don't have an official condition on that individual or a name at this point, but we do know he was injured. At this point, police believe he is the only one who was inside that converted bus. It appears this standoff several hours later is finally over.